Right, it's getting a lot of attention in the French press. So Le Parisien says that the government is backing down on this family law, and it's led to all sorts of puns in the French press about families. I also put out a cartoon in Le Parisien where you can see Hollande saying, "I decided to end my shared life with the family law bill." So this is, of course, a reference to the way he declared he was breaking up with his partner, Valérie Trier-Weiler. Libération says the government is disowning its family bill. Ha, ha, ha. So enough with the puns, though. What is happening? Well, initially the government was supposed to examine a bill that would reform the government's family policy in April, but over the weekend, the conservative movement La Manif pour tous staged demonstrations against what it calls these gay-friendly reforms that they say harm traditional families. So this is the second demonstration that's been held since the beginning of the year, and it seems like this show of force worked because not only has the government said it's not going to push forward any kind of bill this year, so in 2014, on top of that, it says that the new law will not legalize medically assisted procreation, that's known as PMA here in France, or the surrogate motherhood for gay men who want to have children. So these were the really the meat of the reform. So the government has said they're not going to deal with that. And this was also what was very controversial about the reform. So it seems like the government has, ceded to the pressure of the street.
Big victory for Conservatives. The right-leaning Le Figaro no doubt applauding this.
That's right. Le Figaro, surprise, surprise, is very excited about this, says that these angry protesters have made Hollande retreat. This is the front page of Le Figaro. These demonstrations were a big success, but in its editorial, Le Figaro says that demonstrators have to stay vigilant because the government has a habit of making promises it can't keep. And Le Figaro says, remember when the government said it would inverse the unemployment curve by the end of the year? Well, that didn't happen. So according to Le Figaro, nothing is written in stone, and people have to keep a very close eye on the government.
Far left, not so happy, I suspect.
That's right. L'Opinion points out that a lot of the far left feels like Hollande has sacrificed part of his family. And you can see a cat there that represents the Socialist Party that's been caught in a mousetrap. And the other mice that the government was trying to capture were, the National Front, so the far right party, and the UMP. So it seems like while the government was trying to shut up the right, it also has clamped down on the left. Many socialists were really hoping that the government would push through this medically assisted procreation, so the PMA. Now, Libération says that Hollande has let the street win. He's given in to the extreme right, and this is a political error for François Hollande because it demonstrates a lack of political courage, according to Libération.
Now, the other big topic in the French press today, the opening of this groundbreaking trial that we've been reporting here on France 24 in Paris today.
That's right. La Croix, the Christian paper, calls it a delayed action trial because it comes 20 years after the genocide in Rwanda. So the former intelligence chief is going to appear in court today to face those charges of complicity and genocide. Now, this is possible thanks to 1990 laws that point out near universal jurisdiction for exceptional crimes.
And there's a feeling in the French press that through this trial, if you like, France is rather holding up a mirror.
That's right. L'Humanité says that history is really on trial here. And inside, it really doesn't mince its words. And it says that this massacre of part of the population in Rwanda is actually one of the bloodiest and darkest chapters in French history. And Libération also says this is a French trial. This is much more than the trial of one man. Through this trial, according to Libération, France, so Rwanda's former colony, is also coming to terms with its ambiguous and, often criticized relationship with Rwanda, especially its response to that mass murder, which was very much criticized. Libération, in its editorial, points out that France is 20 years too late, but in a way, this is a good start, but it's not enough. We really need to come to the bottom of France's relationship with Rwandan authorities in the 1990s, according to Libération. And on top of that, in general, light really needs to be shed on the secrets of La France-Afrique. La France-Afrique is that very ambiguous relationship that France can often have with its former colonies. And so Libération says this is a good start, but more needs to be done.
Good to see what the French newspapers are saying about that story. It's our main story here on France 24. We'll have a lot more on it in the next half hour. I'll be talking very shortly, in fact, to our international affairs editor, Armand Georgian. We've also a special report coming up on that in Focus, just over 15 minutes' time. So do stay tuned for that in the next half hour.